Welcome to Copilot Podcasts. Imagine watching your mother die in front of you, then inheriting a Nazi hunting organization before you're even old enough to drive. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Silver Sable, mercenary, CEO, and sometimes Spider-Man's ally. You'll learn how a daughter's tragedy birthed one of Marvel's most complex characters, why an entire country's economy depends on her success, and how she walks the line between hero and anti-hero.
You know what's really interesting about Silver Sable? She first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man NUC 265 back in 1985, but her story actually begins way before that, in the aftermath of World War II.
Wait, World War II? How does that connect to a character from the 80s?
Well, her father, Ernst Sablinov, was Europe's most feared Nazi hunter. He created this organization called the Wild Pack to track down war criminals across the continent.
That's intense. So she grew up in this world of hunting war criminals?
Yeah, but it wasn't just about growing up in it. Her childhood was violently interrupted when a Nazi war criminal named Ivan Trefkov bombed her family's home, killing her mother Anastasia right in front of her.
Oh my God, that's horrific.
The trauma was so severe that it actually turned her hair prematurely silver, hence the name Silver Sable. But instead of breaking her, it drove her to demand training from her father.
And her father agreed to train her?
Actually, he tried to shield her at first, but she was determined. Eventually, both her father and her uncle Fritz trained her in everything from espionage to combat tactics.
You know what's fascinating? This whole organization actually became the backbone of an entire country's economy.
Exactly. The Wild Pack and Silver Sable International literally drive the economy of Symkaria, her home country. It's pretty unique in comics to have a character whose business operations are so crucial to an entire nation.
And speaking of unique, I heard she has this really interesting relationship with Dr. Doom.
Oh yeah, that's one of those fascinating details people often miss. Symkaria is actually right next to Latveria, Doom's country, and they have this annual diplomatic dinner at Castle Doom.
Wait, she has dinner with Dr. Doom? Like, regularly?
Yep, and it's not just a casual thing. The friendship between their countries goes all the way back to World War II. It's this really complex political relationship that shows how Silver Sable operates on multiple levels. She's not just a mercenary.
Let's talk about that mercenary aspect, though. How did a Nazi hunting organization transform into what it is today?
Well, as the number of Nazi war criminals dwindled over time, Silver Sable had to adapt. She transformed the Wild Pack into a mercenary organization that takes on all sorts of missions, from recovering stolen property to apprehending international criminals.
That's actually a pretty smart pivot when you think about it.
You know what's really interesting? The inspiration for her character actually came from safari cards that writer Tom DeFalco collected.
Safari cards? Like with animals on them?
Yeah, which might explain her hunting expertise and tactical approach. But she's evolved way beyond that initial concept.
Speaking of evolution, she's had quite a complicated relationship with Spider-Man, right?
Definitely. They've been both allies and opponents. There was this one time when she was trying to catch this jewel thief called the Black Fox, and Spider-Man actually got in her way.
Classic Spidey, always complicating things.
But then there are times when they work together brilliantly. Like when she was hired to take down Jack-O-Lantern, who was training rebel forces in South Africa.
How did that go?
Well, her team got ambushed pretty badly, so she actually had to call in Spider-Man for help. But during that mission, something really significant happened.
What was that?
There was this innocent woman who got killed during a robbery, right in front of her young son. It affected Sable so deeply that she dropped everything else to hunt down the killer.
That must have hit close to home, given her own history.
Exactly. It shows how beneath that mercenary exterior, there's still that little girl who watched her mother die.
You mentioned earlier that she's more than just a mercenary. What are some of her other skills?
Oh, she's incredibly well-rounded. She's a highly skilled martial artist, expert markswoman, master swordswoman, and accomplished gymnast. Plus, she's a brilliant strategist.
And she's got some pretty high-tech gear too, right?
Yeah, she wears this synthetic stretch fabric lined with Kevlar. But honestly, her greatest weapon is probably her tactical mind and leadership abilities.
Speaking of leadership, she's assembled quite a team over the years.
Absolutely. She's recruited some fascinating characters like Sandman, Amy Chen, and even formed a group called the Outlaws with former villains.
Wait, she worked with Sandman? The Spider-Man villain?
Yeah, and that's what makes her such an interesting character. She's willing to work with anyone if it serves her mission, whether they're heroes or reformed villains.
That's pretty pragmatic.
And it's that pragmatism that's kept her alive. Though, speaking of staying alive, there was actually a time when everyone thought she was dead.
Really? What happened there?
She was believed to have been killed in a battle with Dr. Octopus, but she actually survived with help from someone called the Foreigner, who used life model decoys to cover her absence.
That's some serious spy stuff right there.
And recently, she's gotten even more interesting. During the Venom War, she actually bonded with the Agony symbiote and became known as the Silver Symbiote.
Hold up, she got a symbiote? Like Venom?
Exactly. It's just the latest evolution of a character who's constantly adapting to survive.
You know what's really striking about Silver Sable? How she's managed to balance being both a hero and a businesswoman.
And don't forget Diplomat. I mean, those annual dinners with Dr. Doom show just how politically savvy she is.
It's pretty incredible when you think about it. She's basically running a country's economy through her company.
And doing it while maintaining this complex moral code. She's not afraid to work with heroes or villains, but she never loses sight of her core mission.
Which started with hunting Nazis, just like her father.
Exactly. She took a personal tragedy and turned it into something that not only honors her parents' legacy, but also supports an entire nation.
So when you step back from everything we've discussed, what makes Silver Sable such a unique character in the Marvel Universe?
I think it's her complexity. She's not just a hero or a villain, she's a businesswoman, a diplomat, a warrior, and a leader. She shows that sometimes the most interesting characters are the ones who operate in the grey areas.
And she's managed to stay relevant for almost 40 years now.
Because her story resonates, it's about turning personal pain into purpose, about adapting to survive, and about finding your own path between right and wrong.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Copilot Podcasts. From Nazi hunter's daughter to symbiote-powered mercenary, Silver Sable proves that sometimes the most interesting heroes are the ones who make their own rules.